Do you want to have a look at her for you?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Yep.
Good Samaritans Yvonne and her sons Luca and William have rushed into the Bondi clinic with a tiny abandoned kitten.
So you just found this kitten?
Yeah, it was just near the playground, in the box with its toys.
It's a really hot day outside, so for this kitten to be alone and inside this box in the heat really worries me.
It looked like she'd been there for a little while. She looked like she'd been sitting in the sun, so she looked a bit tired and snoozy.
Wow, she's only a baby. I mean, she'd only be a couple of months old, if that.
Yeah.
So it's not really the time to be left alone.
No, not at all, not at all. She's very lucky that one of the kids actually was inquisitive enough to have a look in the box. It looked lethargic and it looked like it had been in the sun for a while. It was very hot and it looked very young, so I was worried that if it was left in the sun for much longer, it might not survive.
I think you've probably arrived just in the nick of time that when you have a kitten that's this small, their whole body is operating on such a high level that it needs water really regularly, it needs food really regularly.
Yeah.
If it goes without for more than a few hours in heat...
Yeah, and it was very hot. So
then they can dehydrate very quickly and you could lose a kitten like this in direct sun in just an hour or so.
Yeah.
Even less.
You're lucky. So. Yeah, I know.
If this little girl does have heat stroke, we are going to have to act pretty quickly because her body temperature could skyrocket to a dangerous level where her organs essentially start cooking themselves. She hasn't had anything to drink or eat?
No, nothing.
Okay, so you just came straight here?
Yeah.
At the Bondi clinic, Chris is urgently assessing a tiny kitten, which was found dumped in a cardboard box at a nearby cricket ground.
Her gums are just on the paler side of pink.
Right.
So, that could be due to shock, it could be due to dehydration.
Right, okay.
She's just a little pale.
When rescuer Yvonne and her sons William and Luca found the stray, she was struggling in the heat.
For this kitten to be alone in that box in direct sun, it's got to worry you because when dehydration and when heat stroke hit, they can be life-threatening. All right, what I'll do, let's just have a little listen. So her heart rate's really high. That's certainly a sign of stress.
Yeah.
And it can be a result of overheating and dehydration.
Yeah.
Chris now needs to check the kitten's temperature.
Okay. All right. It's just on the upper end of normal. Yeah. So she's not suffering from heat stroke, which is a really important thing and real positive. But when I put her on all four legs, something else is going on. See, she's not very happy putting that left front leg down. Yeah, she may have a problem with that front leg, which may explain why.
Yeah, she was there.
Someone may have decided it was all a bit too much. For her to be holding the leg up, you know the injury is severe. But my concern right now is the trauma may have been so great, it's damaged the nerve in her leg. If she's damaged the nerves, then things are a bit more serious.
Yeah.
Because you often can't fix nerves, but you can fix bones. So the important thing is, when I squeeze her foot, whether she can actually feel it. Just give those toes a bit of a squeeze. Okay, that's good. So we know that she has nerve function going right to her toes.
Yeah.
What we don't know is what's caused her to have that leg hanging the way it is. What we need to do is take an X-ray.
Yep, okay.
And from there, I can tell you exactly what's going on.
Okay.
Hopefully the leg is the only problem that this kitten has. It is one of those situations where you have to stay incredibly positive because if the X-rays show a really bad fracture and something that just can't be fixed, there is a chance she'll have to lose the leg. You ready for this now?
At the Bondi clinic, Chris is about to X-ray this tiny stray. The abandoned kitten was found in a cardboard box at a local cricket ground and has a badly injured front leg.
Normally you'd use a sedation, but considering we don't know exactly what's caused these injuries, whether she's been hit by a car or had a big fall, the risk of giving her a sedation could actually cause her whole system to crash. So I'm trying to be as gentle as possible. X-ray. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think we now know why she can't walk on that leg. That's a big fracture. whatever's caused that fracture, we're talking about something major, because bones don't break like that every day. Being left alone in a box on a hot day is already horrific, but when you look at these x-rays, you understand just the trauma that this kitten's been through. You realise this has been the bad day of all bad days.
Chris now needs to share the disturbing news with concerned rescuers Yvonne and her sons William and Luca.
This is our problem leg, so it comes down, then all of a sudden it has a
break, hasn't it?
Yeah, it does. So it's going to take an operation to fix that, which we can do in here.
Yeah, okay.
But the big challenge is the fact she's so young. I mean, looking at her teeth, she's probably about 7 or 8 weeks of age.
Tiny.
So an anaesthetic on these sort of little kittens is always a little risky, but you know, we'll obviously take every precaution with her.
Yeah, sure.
She'll stay with us tonight, and if she's up to it, she'll have the operation in the morning. But we do need to talk about names. And obviously, as the people that found her, you've got to approve this. So what do you reckon? If you look at her face, don't you reckon it looks like she's already wearing her zinc on her nose? And you guys were off on Saturday
Playing cricket.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, cricket? What do you think?
Yeah.
You approve of that one?
Yeah.
All right, well, she's going to go and have a little sleep now, prepare herself for the operation. But thank you. In all seriousness, what you did today was very special, guys.
No problem.
See you,
Bye-bye,
cricket.
cricket.
So, no worries. Okay. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Sure, identifying exactly what sort of injuries Cricket has is some sort of relief, but Cricket only weighs 1 kilogram. She's 8 weeks by our best estimation. That's usually too small and too young to even attempt an operation, but the circumstances say we have to. That operation now presents a whole lot of risks we need to be aware of to make sure, after all we've been through, we now don't lose this little girl. So I'll start to run some anaesthetic in now. Cool, girl. That's it.
Next morning at the Bondi Clinic, it's time for Chris to start the delicate surgery on little Cricket. The tiny abandoned kitten was found with a badly fractured front leg.
It's a measure of how small she is. Her dose of this anaesthetic is 0.005 of a mil. So I'm having to actually bulk it out with some extra fluid just so we can be fairly accurate when it comes to giving her a dose.
Head vet nurse Neil will be assisting Chris with the operation, keeping a constant watch on the little kitten's vital signs.
I think we're getting a bit sleepy now. Yeah, we are. Okay, let's go. There's no doubt that anaesthetics for animals this size and this age have a huge amount of risk associated with them, simply because the animals are so young, they're so fragile, they don't have the energy reserves, and really if they lose just a little bit of blood, that makes a huge difference to their circulation. You have to take each and every step so carefully, otherwise, in the blink of an eye, you can lose them. All right. All good? All right, all good. Let's do it.
It's going to be a risky operation. Chris needs to expose the fracture and then insert a pin to join the 2 broken bones. It will be incredibly difficult working on such a tiny patient.
There's absolutely no chance to relax here right now. I mean, you look into this area and there are big veins, there are big arteries, and there are big nerves. Hitting any one of them could be catastrophic. The challenge here is that once a fracture occurs, all the muscles tend to tighten over the top almost to provide the strength that the bone's no longer providing. And so there's a lot of work that goes into just working my way through those and exposing the end of the fractured bone. So that sharp point there is actually the very end of the fracture. So we should be looking at the bottom part of the humerus there. Finally, I have some sort of access to the ends of the bone. The idea now is to put the pin up the top fragment.
With the pin inserted into one end of the bone, Chris now needs to find the other shattered end.
So we need to join that bit there to this bit here. Like a lot of kittens, Cricket has very thin bones. She's only been on this earth for about 8 weeks, so she hasn't had much calcium to really strengthen them up. So I know if I push too hard, I could actually crack the bone. If I do that, then this whole operation will be a failure. Okay, we're just starting to see it now. So there it is there, just popping up.
At the Bondi Clinic, the delicate operation to repair little Cricket's badly fractured leg is continuing. Chris has inserted a metal pin into one end of the tiny kitten's fractured leg. He's now attempting to secure it to the other end of the broken bone.
Send? I think so. This pin now feels like it has gone into place, but I need to know if it's gone in too far or if it's fallen short. To do that, I need an X-ray.
X-ray!
All right, okay, that's good. So a pin is going right through the middle of the bone. It's bringing the two ends together, and the join is pretty neat. The X-rays look good. The pin's sitting exactly where I want it to be. So really, it's a matter of getting straight back into the surgery because time's ticking. Okay, let's cut this pin. All right, so I pulled that pin back, cut it off. So okay, we're right to close.
Yep.
All right, I'm done there.
The little stray has now been on the operating table for an hour and a half, and Chris is anxious for the tiny kitten to wake up.
I know from my experience that when you're dealing with an animal as small as Cricket is, you can't relax at this stage. We have to keep our eye on the game and make sure that Cricket wakes up from this anaesthetic perfectly.
We've been through so much, don't give up now.
Okay, he's just starting to come around now. Can we get a bed?
Little Cricket is waking up safely, but it will be another few days before Chris knows if the operation to save her leg has been a success.
We've asked just so much of Cricket today. It's been a marathon operation for such a small kitten, but she's come out the other side, and now hopefully we can start looking at a new life for her, a new home. Look at you. I did not expect to see you sitting up.
Over at the Bondi Clinic, Chris is anxious to check on tiny Cricket.
After going through an operation like Cricket has to repair that fractured leg, you appreciate that she's been through a lot. So it's important now to see how she's going. Well, she's putting on the big performance today. She's looking for affection. She's obviously feeling more comfortable in that leg because the bones aren't moving around anymore. She's happy to stand on it, so this is good. It's the best possible outcome to already just 12 hours after the operation have her willing to actually put some weight on it. That's far beyond my expectations. She's really only been away from her mum and her other kitten litter mates for, it could only be a few days, so it's a lot to ask of a little girl like this, but she just seems to take every little challenge and meet it head on and give it that right hook.
Chris is so impressed with the courageous kitten's progress that he's decided the little orphan is allowed a special treat.
Normally after major surgery, you really limit how many visitors a patient has. You don't want them up, about and excited. In Cricket's case though, we're going to make an exception. Tomorrow, she might just see some familiar faces. You've got visitors, Cricket.
Next day at the Bondi Clinic, little Cricket is now well enough for some surprise visitors. Rescuers Yvonne and her boys are keen to see how well the tiny kitten is recovering after her leg operation.
I was a bit worried that she wouldn't be alright in the surgery because she's a small kitten, so hopefully she pulled through okay.
So, would you like a hold?
Oh yeah, we'll have a hold.
So she's doing all right. I mean, she's making progress.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing. The injury she had, it wasn't small.
Yeah.
And it was actually quite an effort to put it back together, even though we're talking about bones that are, this big. The one thing that I've noticed since the operation, she's not going to go back to using that leg straight away.
No.
And she's going to try to guard that.
Yeah.
She's guarding a little bit more than I'd normally expect.
I was going to say, she doesn't look like she's got the paw down at all.
Exactly. So I'm just watching that. I just want to make sure she does get full nerve function back in that foot. for now, the most important thing is just keeping her fairly quiet.
Yeah,
that's why I'm happy for her to be in her little cage there and resting, because her bones are really in a crucial stage where they need to mend. But she's got the right attitude with it all, and she's affectionate and she's getting plenty of attention in here. And,
really? I can't imagine that she's not demanding that. Hey?
Exactly. You look at those boys' faces, they're infatuated by her and clearly thinking about how they convince Mum to take Cricket home.
It's a big step from rescuer to owner, and Yvonne isn't taking it lightly.
I mean, it wasn't a plan to have a kitten, but you never know, we might take her, but you do really need to make a decision if you're going to have a pet, that you're going to keep it forever.
Okay, well, we'll put her back in here. The fact is, whether Yvonne and the boys decide to take Cricket home in the end, it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, they've already saved her life, and that's the really important thing to remember right now. All right. So, thank you for calling by. It is very, very sweet of you, so I'm sure she appreciates it.
Nice to see her, isn't it, Luca?
Yeah.
Bye-bye, Cricket. She's giving me a handshake. Look at that. She's got a handshake.
All right, guys.
Great.
Thanks for calling by.
Thanks, Chris.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you later.
Okay. Cricket doesn't really seem to know the meaning of rest and of taking it easy, but that is exactly what she needs to do right now. We want to see that movement return to that leg and get her more comfortable in using it. If she can do that over the next few weeks, then we can seriously look at her going to a new home, wherever that is. Excuse me. What is it? What is which buttons? That can't last.
It's been 4 weeks since the surgery to repair Cricket's left front leg.
Normally, if you want to check if the leg's working, you stretch it, you might take some x-rays here. We just check if she can pull up buttons and make phone calls. I know it's all about pulling your weight, but we don't need a secretary. You are just proving that you cannot stay around here much longer, and you are going to have to go to your new home. Yep. And you better not behave like that. So Yvonne has decided not to adopt little Cricket. I mean, obviously, the whole family's played such a huge role in her life and ultimately her survival, but for them, the timing just wasn't right, and the worst thing you can do is force a pet into a family that's not ready for one. The good news, though, is that we do actually have another person who is very keen to adopt her.
You'll be ready to get out of here, I'm sure. She's just full of beans all the time.
Yeah.
This leg's amazing. You've done a great job.
She uses it for good as well as evil.
Yeah.
Whilst Neil is a real softie, he's a hard man when it comes to making sure that his kittens go to the right homes. He has a little checklist he always likes to run through, and if he doesn't think the owner's suitable, he'll say no.
So you think they're a suitable owner for a cat?
Definitely, yeah. They've had cats before.
They've had cats before?
Yeah.
Have they had any other pets before?
Yeah, they've had dogs as well.
Dogs?
Actually, quite a few different types of animals.
Okay. Yep, you can have a look when I've finished. Now, are they going to be responsible? So there's a few really important things. Obviously, they're going to have to make sure that she's fed, watered, litter trays looked after, they're in a safe environment.
I trust them.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think you'll like them, and I think you'll learn to understand why they're pretty trustworthy.
Okay.
So the new owner has been given Neil's conditional approval, so here comes the exciting part. It's time for Cricket to go home to the new owner for the first time. Kiss, kiss. Lovely. One more.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye. Be good.
Cricket, just trust me on this. You are going to love where we're going. Bit of faith.
Lucky Cricket is getting some VIP treatment, with Chris taking time out to personally deliver her to her new home.
So welcome to your new home. It's actually our home. Oh yeah, we're doing this. It's been kind of a funny situation because I truly did want Yvonne and the kids to adopt Cricket, but each and every time I found I was trying to convince them into taking her, I was giving reasons as to why I should ultimately adopt her. And so when they said no, it wasn't going to work out, I wasn't that disappointed. Are you going to get to love this place? There is so much here for you to look at, for you to get to know, and for those claws of yours to sink themselves in. You already can't wait, can you? Look at you. Cricket? No. What are you scratching? Really, my whole life I've had cats, apart from the last couple of years since I lost my cat, George. George certainly had a unique personality. George, that's not a welcome. And you can never replace that kind of character. So all the while since I lost him, I've been looking for a cat that might go close. And I think Cricket might just be that cat. I wouldn't do that, Cricket. Feel good? That's not gonna happen. You don't have to scratch every single item of furniture in the first 5 minutes you're here. At the moment, I'm looking around my house, trying to appreciate how my house looks now, because it'll never look better. Cricket clearly thinks my house is delicious, and she's willing to scratch and taste every single part of it. You relax? Yeah? Do you know how to relax? Cricket's had just about the hardest start to life that a cat can have. Been abandoned with a broken leg, having to face major surgery and a really long recovery. But hopefully today is a really nice way to start the rest of her life. We're gonna have some fun.
The local family were getting rid of Kittens, and I just saw his face and just lost it. He was just something special. I was just in love with him straight away.
Hi, TJ.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. Oh my goodness, this is the chap.
This is Foxy.
Oh my gosh. What a beautiful boy you are. I can see where he got the name.
Yeah, the massive ears.
I can see why you're already in love. He's only been 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's just bags of personality. He will climb up you, curl himself in a ball under my chin, and just purr like a Harley Davidson. Foxy, up, up.
When TJ first picked up the tiny kitten, her heart sank.
I could feel straight away that his chest curved inward, and it was very odd. Foxy.
She immediately set up a consultation with Scott.
All right, let's take this little chap in the concert room, shall we?
Come on then, yeah.
TJ and I both work together on a TV show here in the UK, and with our love of animals, we've become friends. The main concern you've got is underneath this jacket, isn't it?
Yes.
Right, let's see.
Yeah, take a feel of that chest.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane, isn't it?
Quite disconcerting.
Look at that. I can get up to my finger, like that.
Just knuckle, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Fox is already suffering as a result of his congenital abnormality. He struggles to breathe sometimes, he's quite breathless. He has something called pectus excavatum. In humans, it's like an inward pointing sternum or breastbone. So yeah. I think it used to be called pigeon chest.
Yeah.
So rather than your sternum, your breastplate slightly going out, his is going way in. So that reduces the size of his chest cavity. And as they grow, their heart and their lungs don't have anywhere to mature into. Unfortunately, with this condition, the kitten won't live naturally longer than 12 months. It's always tough when you tell an owner that their beloved animal might not survive, and unfortunately with this condition, Fox just won't be able to develop into a normal adult cat. The surgery that we need to do is basically to encourage that yet to be fully stiff breastplate, the sternum, and we have to pull it out. The risks of that though are heavy. I have to put a number of needles into his chest.
Okay.
And inside the chest cavity, will not shock you, is full of really, really important things.
Yeah.
If we nick any of those, he won't make it through the surgery. And even if I don't, the opening of the chest cavity to a normal size can also lead to them stop breathing.
I'm quite anxious now, but I don't know, it's best to have honesty, I think, because, you know, he could lose his life, but if he doesn't have the surgery, he could also lose his life, so.
It's a lot to take on, and I appreciate how much you love him already and how hard that must be.
TJ must now make a tough decision.
You really, unfortunately, don't have much of a choice.
In Isleworth, TJ must decide whether to proceed with high-risk surgery to correct her 12-week-old kitten's life-threatening birth defect.
If left and untreated, sadly, it will lead to his premature death.
I really love him so much, and he's so full of life, you know, I really want him to have a good life.
Courageous TJ decides to go ahead with the perilous procedure to try to mend Fox's deformed chest bone.
And even greater pressure for me is that actually today is my 25th anniversary of being a vet.
Oh, congratulations. Well, I'm hopefully that's good luck for him.
I really, really hope it is. It's been a great career. It's been what I dreamed of doing ever since I was 7. And today, being that I'm performing a surgery that I've never performed before on a friend of mine's kitten, there's some pressure there, but I think the experience that I've developed over those 25 years is going to count for a lot. All right, say goodbye to Mummy.
Bye, baby. Be good.
I'll look after him, I promise. I'll get you back to Mummy very, very soon.
Saying goodbye is always difficult, but not knowing whether I'll see him alive again is even worse.
Before operating, Scott x-rays Fox's chest to see the extent of the malformation in the tiny kitten's breastbone.
X-ray. Quite an astonishing X-ray. So you can see here, this is his breastbone, his sternum, and that should just go straight down like that, and you can see it's going, whoa, like that. It's just so abnormal. It's curving right inwards, almost like a, you know, witch's deformed finger or something.
Because of the high risks involved in the surgery, Scott has chosen experienced nurses Gina and Jason to assist.
I can't downplay the concerns regarding this procedure, because basically what I have to do is put a needle inside his chest cavity multiple times. I could puncture the heart, I can puncture the lungs, so we can either get internal bleeding and he'll die on the table, we'll get a punctured lung and he'll die on the table. And then also when we open up the chest, because it's all of a sudden got this huge amount more volume than it did before, we probably will see some issues with the anaesthetics. You come back to us, okay?
Yep.
Doctor's orders. Okay, let's do this.
In the UK, Scott is operating to try to correct a severe birth defect in 12-week-old kitten Fox's chest.
So we've got one in now. I am blindly placing a needle into the chest cavity. At any moment, I could perforate his heart. He could bleed out within seconds. So I'll be starting up this end, and then slowly as we go, we'll be lifting and tying the sutures. And by doing so, it'll allow me to lift up the sternum. So kind of if you have a log, and you put rope underneath the log all the way along, well then you can lift the log up.
Once the sutures are in place, Scott will attach them to a custom-made breastplate that will hopefully stimulate Fox's chest bone to grow outwards instead of in. But first he has to insert delicate stitches without inflicting a fatal injury on his tiny patient.
They'll start getting a bit easier now, won't they?
No, they're actually getting harder.
Oh.
Right, okay, next one.
In Isleworth, Scott is cautiously inserting stitches into Fox's chest, dangerously close to the little kitten's heart and lungs.
Putting sutures in a chest cavity on a 12-week-old kitten obviously is risky. The margin of error is so small. So yeah, that's good. Now we're getting somewhere. Look at that, that looks great. I know that he's past the point of danger, and I know I can correct the deficit that nature dealt him. We're going to put some padding in place. I'm going to trim it a little bit.
With the most perilous part of the surgery over, Scott now attaches a temporary breastplate to Fox's chest.
Right, so that's our suit of armour on, and hopefully a nice straight sternum underneath. The plan is that it will remain there for up to 3 weeks, and what that will do is encourage the sternum to lay out, and it'll start to ossify, so it'll start to harden up. And then when we remove the plate, the breast should stay in position, and that'll then mean that this little guy will live a full and natural life. X-ray. Great. Yeah, so you can see that. Before it's sort of almost like an S-bend of a toilet, and now it's much straighter. So the chest has got all this extra space, so now his lungs have got to use.
While little Fox recovers from his life and death surgery, his owner TJ arrives, desperate to be reunited with the much-loved kitten she feared she might never see again.
There he is! There he is! Oh, look at your little outfit. Hey, baby.
Yeah, so he's still very sleepy. Underneath here, there's a breastplate. He's going to feel like he's wearing a straitjacket, so he's not going to think that's brilliant, but very quickly he will get used to it. I'm hoping over the days and weeks, what we'll see is he'll start breathing into this new chest cavity.
Oh, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
It's wonderfully put the faith in me, and after 25 years, I still got it.
Yeah.
So that's really good. So I'm so glad for you, and he is just a dream. I couldn't think of anything better than on my 25th anniversary as a vet to be able to perform a surgery like that, to be able to give Fox the chance at a full and natural life that he wouldn't have had. Very satisfying, and I'm very proud. 25 years. Hi, TJ.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Hello, my gorgeous little fluff ball. How are you?
It's 3 weeks since little kitten Fox's life-saving surgery, and TJ has brought him back to Scott. It's time to have his breastplate removed and to see if his chest is now developing normally.
How's that? Does that feel better?
Right. Well, everything's sounding really good. The deficit's definitely reduced.
Yeah.
Good boy. He's got a lot bigger chest cavity than he did before. Now we've removed the breastplate, I'm really happy with the way Fox is looking. He is breathing far bigger, deeper breaths, and I'm incredibly hopeful that this little cat and TJ can live a long and loving life together. All right, buddy. See you later. Breathe well. See you later, TJ.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. It's definitely been a massive relief to know that you give them the best chance to grow up to be a big fluffy ginger cat rather than just a little one.
They're particularly beautiful, sweet little girls, and they are such a little pair. They look so cute together. I mean, all kittens are cute, but your heart just melts when you see these two little ones.
Yeah, Phoebe shouldn't be too long, so if you don't mind just taking a seat.
Okay,
very
thank you.
much. Thank you.
We got a call from a member of the public who was looking online, actually, for a scratching post. She came across a site where a lot of animals were being sold. She saw the pictures of these two kittens and realised that they had something wrong with their eyes.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Phoebe. Nice to meet you.
Hello. Pleased to meet you.
Are you the guardian
I'm Mary.
angels?
Yes, we're guardian
Hello, my
angels.
name's
This is
Sue.
Hello.
Mary. And we'd like you to take a look at these little people for us, please.
They're so beautiful. Oh, look at their little faces. Right, would you like to bring them through?
Yes, please. Thank you.
It's great that we can help out charities that work in the local area and they're able to give the right veterinary treatment to these animals along with our help and then find them loving homes. So who am I looking at here?
That's Tabitha.
So the right one looks normal, but the left one, you can see the third eyelid coming across.
It's quite evident as soon as you look at one of her eyes that there's something wrong there. It looks like the conjunctiva, which is the membrane at the side of the eye, is sort of across the cornea in a way that it shouldn't be.
And I think she's got a condition called symblepharon,
which is when part of the eye which shouldn't stick to another part of the eye. And
It can be congenital, so they can be born with it.
She would have been born with it, probably.
Or it can be associated with herpes virus, which is cat flu, which is really common in strays because they're obviously not vaccinated against it. A little bit concerning, but I'm hoping that we can do something for her. Right, let's have a look at the other one as well then.
Come on, Wriggle Piggle.
Wriggle Piggle.
Take the table with you.
Who's this one then?
And this is Tamsin.
Hey, Tamsin. Good girl. Oh, so she's got the same condition, and hers is worse. We can definitely do surgery on the eye, just to cut the membranes and allow more mobility.
Fingers crossed the surgery will fix that, which seems like quite a daunting thing to do to two little kittens, but hopefully it will be for the best.
To give her the best chance of a loving forever home, it would be a good thing to try, because if it is a congenital problem and we do surgery, then we could cure it.
That's wonderful news, the fact that something can be done for them.
Yeah. It's not something I've seen before in young kittens. It's really, really rare. So I think I'm going to refer it to Scott for him to have a closer look as well. And hopefully we'll be able to do surgery for these little guys.
Thank you very much for your time. That's lovely.
It's lovely to meet them.
Excuse me, this away, please. This away. Morning, folks.
Good morning.
Right, they're both here.
Oh, hello.
Tamsin and Tabitha.
Mary has returned to the Isleworth clinic with the two rescue kittens. Mary is hoping the kittens' eyes can be cured, so they'll have a much better chance of being adopted.
So we've got Scott downstairs now, so if you don't mind, I will take two lovely girls off your hands. And,
okay,
yeah,
lovely.
we'll be in
Thank you
touch.
very much. That's great.
No
Bye-bye,
problem.
girls. Hope it all goes well. I'll be thinking about you all day.
Oh, bless
All right,
them.
loves.
Bye.
Bye-bye, darling. Bye. I am concerned because there is always a risk with a general anaesthetic, but they need this surgery.
Hi, Scott.
Oh, yeah.
This is Tabitha and Tamsin from Guardian Angels. I'd like you to have a little look at their eyes. It
Yeah.
looks like symblepharon to me, but I wanted a second opinion.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get her out, shall we, and have a quick look.
Yeah, sure.
Tamsin is the first kitten to be examined by Scott.
Hi, gorgeous. Hello, sweetheart. Ooh. I've seen a few of them in my career, but not as bad as that one. I mean, her eyes nearly completely closed by that.
Yeah.
Phoebe's description of these eyes probably didn't do them justice. In fact, they're a lot worse than I expected them to be. Yeah, this is classic symblepharon. This kitten's had some damage to its cornea, and then the vascular support structures around the eye, the conjunctiva, have just gone, oh, that's a hole, I better fill it with something. And so it's stuck onto the eye. But unfortunately, it's stuck on a little bit too effectively, and now what we have is literally like a sort of fleshy curtain over the top. And we have no idea what's underneath. You can barely see any of the eye, so we don't know if it's healthy or not. We need to be just so careful because this tissue could actually be plugging a hole in a dike. And if we pull the finger out, then the whole eye can rupture. So this isn't a simple, job for trying to make it look prettier. This potentially could be curtains for that eye.
Yeah.
So we have to try and see if we can achieve a functional eye. But worst case scenario is down the line, we might actually have to remove a whole eye. So
Yeah.
you're gonna make someone a lovely little feline friend, aren't you?
Yeah.
Eh? Once we hopefully can sort this eye out.
Scott is now going to examine Tabitha to see if she shares the same debilitating eye condition as her sister.
So again, we can see this eye is, the aperture itself, the size of the eye is smaller. You can just see that very clearly. As soon as you look, you can see that one's just smaller than that one.
Yeah.
So I'll need to open this eye up a little bit as well. But unlike her sister, you can actually see more of her eye. So we can't give you any promises, my love, but we'll give it a go.
With vet nurse Gina helping, Scott anaesthetises the first kitten, Tamsin, and the delicate and difficult surgery can begin.
Brave girl. Brave little thing, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's been through a lot in her short little life. Performing this procedure is a little bit of a suck it and see moment. You sort of tread carefully, knowing that at any moment it could all go very wrong.
So it's tough to know exactly where to cut. Just see where this goes. So that's good news. You can actually see that that is all covering the eye, but actually not attached to the eye.
Yeah. Well, you need to remove any of the tissue.
Yes, so I'm going to. Okay, that's better than I thought it was going to be. So that shouldn't be attached to the eye. Every time she blinked or winked, just pull her eye constantly and just be so uncomfortable. So that can come away now. Okay, so there's one part of that eyelid that shouldn't have been there.
After the initial cut and removing of that sort of curtain out of the eye, straight away I can see this little kitten's eye for the very first time.
Yep, that's great. It's really good news. Look at that nice, clear cornea, no staining whatsoever. So actually there's no ulceration to this eye whatsoever. So it's literally the best result we could have wanted. So that's very good for this little girl, isn't it?
It's amazing.
You've got the window to your soul back. Look at that.
So how are you going to make sure that that conjunctiva doesn't reattach to the surface of the eye?
This is where I bring you into a little professional secret. Not many people know that we use them, but actually I'm going to be placing a little lens, a false, like a contact lens in people.
Contact lenses are used in people to help them to see a little bit better, but in cats and dogs, we generally use them to protect the surface of the eye. And in these kittens' case, by placing one of these almost soft bandage lenses onto the eye, it'll help to heal them underneath, but also stop any of that conjunctiva sticking onto the eye again.
So how long the kitten can wear the contact lenses is probably dependent on the kitten. We'll definitely be putting a collar on her to try and stop her from flicking it out. But look, if it lasts 3 days, fantastic. We'll try and leave it in for about 10 days if possible. 2 weeks, even better. But we'll take what we can get. She's a kitten after all.
That was some serious fiddly business, wasn't it?
It was.
But you did it. Mary's going to be so happy.
Good girl. No, you're unhappy about the new attire, aren't you? Hey, there you go.
While Tamsin recovers from her operation, next it will be her sister Tabitha's turn for the tricky surgery.
Okay. Let's hope we can fix your sister's eye up too, hey? So, she gets the same treatment that her sister did. Let's hope your sister's luck plays out for you.
This surgery is quite fraught, actually, because although breaking down these adhesions will reduce discomfort and pain in these cats, these adhesions are sometimes there for a very good reason. They can be plugging a hole in the cornea, and by removing that adhesion, sometimes you can open a hole in the whole eye and it can rupture.
So there's attachments all on the top of the eye there, and all the way back.
Just as we're getting our hopes up that everything has gone brilliantly with Tamsin, I start to do the procedure on Tabitha, and unfortunately her eye is much more complicated.
So unlike the other one, you need to try and preserve that tissue.
Yep.
Although the aperture, the hole that we can see of the eye is bigger, the eye underneath is much more damaged. There's a lot of scarring, there's some ulceration there. And once I start removing the adhesions, I see that everything, all the structures around that eye are all stuck together. It's very complicated indeed.
So there was that sort of kink in the eyelid there. So I'm trying to break down whatever's caused that.
Yeah.
I think it's probably all part and parcel with all these structures sticking to each other. It's just sort of concertinaed the eyelid a little bit.
Like her sister, Tabitha is also getting a contact lens inserted over her eye to protect it while it heals.
Tabitha should get pretty good vision once the corneal ulcers have healed, but some of them will leave scars. There's scars already, but there's also damage to the protective surface of the eye, the cornea as well. So they'll take a while to heal. When they do, if they leave scars, it's like having a smudge on your glasses that you can't rub out. You know what it's like when you've got an annoying scratch on your sunglasses. You know, you're annoyed about it for a day and then afterwards you get used to it. Okay, that's fine.
We're going to keep Tamsin and Tabitha in with us for a couple of days, and it will give us the best chance of making sure that they're kept calm and quiet for as long as possible.
Here she is. You two can start seeing eye to eye for once, can you? Yeah? Oh. It's all right, sweetheart.
Mary from the Guardian Angels charity has returned to collect the 2 homeless kittens.
Good morning, ladies.
Hello, Mary. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are my lovely girls?
They're doing really well.
Fantastic. I'm here to pick up Tamsin and Tabitha, the 2 little kittens that have had eye operations. Obviously, I'm very excited to see them. I know it's been quite a complicated procedure.
Here they are.
Hello, girls. How are you? Oh, wonderful. Oh,
Missing you, no doubt.
fantastic. Hello. Can you show me your new eye? You are? Oh, I'm so lucky. Thank you.
It's really nice to reunite Tabitha and Tamsin with Mary today.
Good girls.
They stayed in a couple of days after the surgery just for some extra TLC and some eye meds. So I think Mary's been apart from them a little bit longer than she had wanted to. So I'm sure she'll be very delighted to take them home today and, yeah, give them some love. So we'll get Tabitha out first.
Okay.
Because I know we spoke at the time
Yes,
that...
we did. And it was a much longer op, wasn't it?
Yeah, we thought she was actually going to be the easier of the 2, but then it ended up being a much more complicated surgery. We've already started to notice an improvement with the eye. She's starting to open the eye now, and like the amount of discharge has really decreased as well.
Wonderful.
So we're hopeful that it's definitely going in the right direction.
Well, bless them, they've been through so much in their short lives. They're only about 5 months old now, and it's amazing now that we now see, hopefully, the light at the end of the tunnel.
Let's get your big sister out.
Hello, big sister.
So we thought Tamsin was more severely affected because she had the membrane over almost the whole of her eye, but actually, when we cut it away under anaesthetic, she actually had a really healthy eye underneath.
Fantastic, that's great news.
Yeah.
You're both very, very lucky girls, aren't you?
Yeah.
Both got 2 hopefully working eyes each now, which is a step in the right direction.
So we're not quite there yet. Mary's got the eye meds to go home, so she'll have to be working hard 3 times a day to get those in. But now that they're home, Mary can start looking for a forever home for these 2.
Thanks to everyone, thanks to all the team and
Aww.
all the care and love that you've shown them. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Right, going to come home then?
Yeah. Oh, bless them.
Come on, girlies, let's get you home.
He's crawled up behind the motor.
Nearby Coogee, the police search and rescue squad has been called out to help a trapped cat.
My doorbell went about 1 o'clock this morning. I jumped out of bed and went to the front door and there were 2 policemen. And they said there was a little kitten under the bonnet of my car and was very, very distressed. I'm so grateful the neighbours did hear the little kitten because if I'd come up in the morning and it was still there and I didn't know and I started the car, it would have hurt it. It could have even killed it, I imagine. It just would have been horrific if something had happened to it.
Come on. Can you grab him from there? Are you able to grab him?
But just when the rescuers finally get their hands on the feisty kitten, it takes off into the bushes.
Somewhere here, in the vicinity.
So with Aileen leading the search, the neighbours have all joined in.
Can you hear him? Come on, little one. Come on. Come on. We're going to look after you. Come on, where are you? He's frightened with us trying to get him out. I'm worried he'll come out and he'll just run across the road again and there's so much traffic. He could get hit with a car.
Hey, puss. Gotcha. Hey, puss.
At the Bondi Clinic, Chris is back at work.
You looked after him so well last night.
Outside, Good Samaritan Aileen is on her way to see him with grandsons Declan and Logan and a furry fugitive.
Explain to me how you have...
How we have this dear little kitten. Well, it was early hours of Sunday morning. 2 policemen rang my doorbell to say he was under the bonnet of my car. But he escaped. Crossed Carrington Road, which is a very busy road, so he's used up one of his lives, I feel. And he hid in the garden all night. So eventually enticed him out about 12 midday.
It's a big weekend for a little guy.
Very big weekend, yeah. And the boys happened to be staying overnight, so they were there to help Grandma look after him, weren't you?
Have you noticed he keeps on turning around and licking? So I'm just wondering if he might have some fleas. He does. You see it? What do you reckon this gets rid of? The thing gas. If only it was that simple.
With the fleas treated, Chris then worms and vaccinates the runaway.
Look at that.
There you go. That was
Didn't even
like
notice
your
it.
lad, wasn't it?
The most important thing before anyone gets too attached, which might be a little bit too late, we should probably check it for a microchip. Did you hear a beep? What do you reckon that means?
We're keeping.
Chris now needs to notify the council and local animal shelter. It'll be a week before Aileen can take the kitten home.
So are you okay to wait a few days before you take him home?
For 5-year-old Logan, a week is a very long time.
He'll be all right, Logan, with Dr. Chris is going to look after him. I think it would be heartbreaking to not keep him now. And I have been thinking about getting another cat, so yes, maybe it was fate.
I almost hope no one comes to collect him. Because you look at Logan and Declan, they've already become so attached. They'll be devastated if they have to give up their new little buddy. Mate, how did you get across here? Look at it. Madness.
1 week later, and nobody's claimed the runaway kitten.
It's the last time you ever crossed this road.
So Chris is delivering a very special parcel to some very happy boys.
Hey.
Dr. Chris, Declan, look who's here. Look who's here. Isn't he beautiful? Do you want to hold him, Logan? Remember how to hold him?
You're good.
Oh, very good. You're a dear little fellow, aren't you? I'm very happy to have him. Very happy to have him. It's just nice to have that other little heartbeat in the house. And the boys will love coming over to see him.
I'll leave you with the task of taming.
Yes, all right. I'll do my best. Thank you for bringing him to us.